Rightio, well, we are back with another shirt ranking video. This time we're going to look at all of the shirts from the three European competitions, the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League. I've got all teams and all shirts here. There is 108 shirts I have got on this tier list. I'm going to try to rank them into these 5 categories. We've got grouped for the worst of the worst. Could be better for shirts that could be better. Decent for decent shirts, good for good shirts, and then deserves a start for the best of the best. Now, fair warning, there are quite a few foreign names on this list that I don't know how to pronounce. I'm an Englishman, I speak English, that's about it. But I've tried my best to get these pronunciations down so that I can at least pronounce them to the best of my ability. But I do apologise up front for this. So we are going to start off with a team that I can pronounce, and that is Aberdeen from Scotland, who are currently playing in the Conference League. And I think this is a very nice shirt. I'm a big fan of what Adidas and Aberdeen have done here. It's a largely red shirt, as you would expect from Aberdeen, with some lovely faint pinstripes as well. It is really, really nice getting us kicked off with a good shirt. I really like it. And next up, we have AEK Athens, who also play in the Conference League, and they are from Greece. Now, this shirt, it's not that bad. It's a serviceable Nike shirt. The sponsor isn't great, which is something we have to take into account with these shirt designs, as they are just plastered on the shirt. It's okay, not really too much to write home about. It's literally just a decent shirt. That's all I can say. Moving on to AEK Larnaca now, who also play in the Conference League, but they are from Cyprus. And this is their home shirt, a little yellow and green number. It's very interesting to say the least. But again, not a good sponsor if we're looking at this. I do like what they've done with the stripes, though. They've tried to make your traditional stripe design a bit more unique, which I do appreciate. I think that's a nice touch. Reminds me of the Bournemouth shirt from a couple of years ago. I think it's decent. I'm going to say it's better than the AEK Athens shirt. We're going to try and do mini tiers within the rankings. So I think that's, you know what, we're going to... we'll keep it like that, I think. Then we move on to Ajax, our first Champions League team, and they are, of course, from the Netherlands. And you know what? This is quite nice. I'm not going to lie. So it's got like this half-tone gradient design across the red aspects of the shirt, which when you look quite close up are made up of the little X's, which will also be found on the flag of Amsterdam, which is where Ajax are from, where they represent. And all in all, I think it's a very clean design. Ajax, they've got a very simple, home shirt design, red stripe down the center, white on either sides. And they've, made this red area very nice with that little half-tone gradient. That's a good shirt. Wherever Ajax have gone, they're not. Are they even here? Where the hell are Ajax? Sorry, what? Oh, they're all the way down there for some reason. They're good. Right, next up we have Arsenal, another Champions League side, and they are, of course, from England. And we've already looked at that shirt in our Premier League rankings, but I think it's a very decent shirt, very solid. Makes use of the new Nike template with the little piping on this little bit here between the body and the sleeves. Lovely use of the Gothic A design throughout the body of the shirts. Lovely monochrome badge as well. That is, once again, a good shirt. And there seems to be a little bit of a theme developing on what I think is a good shirt. But I promise it's not just the colour scheme. They're just very nicely designed kits, okay? I promise. All right, moving on to AS Monaco now. They are also in the Champions League, and they play in France. And this is actually a pretty solid-looking kit, to be fair. It follows the classic Monaco design of having I don't know what actually you'd call this design, but basically it splits halfway down the shirt, going from red to white. They've created a nice shirt. I do like the little faint red stripes within the body of the shirt. I think that looks very nice. Can't see if it continues on the white aspects. Maybe. That is a good shirt. Oh boy, I'm really not beating the allegations there. We want Aston Villa now, and they are playing in the Europa League. And of course, they play in England. And there's another Adidas number with some lovely gold piping, some lovely designs on the cuffs. Other than that, it is a very, very plain shirt. It is decent, but it's the best of the decent kits so far. Sponsor's terrible, though. Then we move on to Atalanta. They are playing in the Champions League, and they are from Italy. And it's a lovely blue and striped number from New Balance with a red sponsor that really just brings the shirt down a few marks, in my opinion. Now, Atalanta have done something with the stripes here. They're not just your standard black and blue stripes, but on each side of the black stripe, there's like this little faded line bit going off them, which creates an almost blurry look when looking at the full shirt. It's an interesting touch. They've tried to do something with the stripes, which I always appreciate, and the cuffs and the collar actually look pretty nice as well. But again, that sponsor just doesn't do it for me. It's decent. I think AEK Larnaca have a better shirt personally. We move on now to Athletic Club. They are playing in the Champions League and they are from Spain, especially the Basque region. This is a pretty solid looking shirt from Castor. While I don't like Castor, they can make some very nice looking kits, and this is a pretty decent effort at that. Big fan of the retro collar on there. Doesn't really match the cuffs with this little bit here, which is an interesting choice. I think that would have looked better if the cuffs matched. But other than that, it's a pretty solid shirt. Very basic, to be fair. That's going in decent, but it's better than the AEK Athens shirt because it just looks a bit nicer. Really, that's all I can say. All right, we then move on to Atletico Madrid. They are, of course, playing in the Champions League and are from Spain as well. And it's another red and white striped number, this time with a little blue accent colour as well. Now, do I think this looks better than the Athletic Bilbao shirt or the Athletic Club shirt? I don't think it does. So I think the main draw of the Athletic Club shirt over this shirt from Atleti is the collar, really. This one doesn't really have a collar. And I don't like the sponsor either. So, unfortunately for Atleti fans, that is going in decent because it is just decent. All right, then we move on to AZ Alkmaar, who are playing in the Conference League and, of course, hail from Netherlands. And this is definitely an interesting design, to say the least. It's a very plain red and white shirt with a little bit of a graphic on the red aspects. I'm not too sure what this graphic is. I'm just trying to take a better look at it now. It looks like it could be a topographical map. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so according to Footy Headlines, it's a subtle tonal map graphic of the Alkmaar and Zaanstreek region. So I was correct. It does represent their area. So that's pretty good going, actually. I was originally going to have that in Could Be Better, but I'm a fan of the topographical map. I think that badge is cool as well. Very unique in terms of football badges. That's a decent shirt. I think it's probably top 3 so far. All right, and FC Barcelona. For some reason, they are nowhere to be found on this list. Why are they down at the bottom? Let's move them up. Barcelona, the classic, blue and red stripes with some interesting gradient maneuvers going on here. I wasn't a fan when it leaked. I'm not a fan of it now, to be honest with you. It doesn't look that good, in my opinion. They're of course playing in the Champions League. They're of course a Spanish giant, but this definitely could be better and is a definite downgrade on the one they had last season. Moving on to Bayer Leverkusen now. And I've already talked about this shirt in a recent Kit Leaks video. Well, I say recent, in a Kit Leaks video at some point. Didn't like it then. Not really a fan of it now either. Now it has these half-tone stripes made up of crosses in red and in white, a red badge. But I just don't really like it, to be honest. It could be better. I think it's not as good as the Barcelona shirt. So for me, it's going in could be better. And then move on to Bayern Munich, who are also playing in the Champions League and are also a German club. And this is not a good looking shirt. I don't know what Adidas have been doing with Bayern Munich, but this kit is not it. It's a red shirt, which Bayern's main color, with white elements on there as well, designed to make the red elements look like the letter M for what I can only assume is Munich. But this isn't good and has drawn the ire of the Bayern fans because it's just not a nice shirt. Grouped, definitely. And then move on to Benfica, who are also playing in the Champions League, but are our first Portuguese side we're going to take a look at. And it's okay. It's not grouped because it's not horrendous, but it is very boring. It is very plain. It could definitely be a lot better. They have had better kits in the past from Adidas, so it could be better. I like it more than the Bayer Leverkusen shirt, but I don't think it's as good as the Barcelona shirt in terms of kits that could be better. And then move on to BK Häcken. They play in the Conference League and are from Sweden. And it's our second yellow and black shirt, but it's not as good as the first one we looked at. I will say that right off the bat. Obviously, there are different monetization models for all these different leagues, and the Swedish league is not one of those top leagues. So clubs need to do more to get money, really. This kit has a lot of sponsors on it for that reason, and unfortunately, despite it being what they do in the league, it doesn't help the shirt at all. And unfortunately, if there are any BK Häcken fans watching, I do apologize, but it could be better. I like your badge. I think your badge is cool, but I don't like the sponsors. Even if you had to have all these sponsors, they could look good, then maybe I could support that, but they just don't. Especially that front of shirt main sponsor you've got there. Not a fan of that. So I'm sorry, any Swedes watching, but don't rate it. And then we move on to Bodo Glimt, who are playing in the Champions League, but are from Norway. And for some reason, they're not next on this list. What's going on here? Bodo Glimt, very plain yellow shirt, not much going on. A lot of sponsors as well, not as many as BK Häcken. Could definitely be better. I think it's slightly worse than BK Häcken's. But yeah, definitely could be a lot better, especially when you're playing the Champions League, man. Put some black elements on it or something, jazz it up a little bit. Could definitely be better. And then we move on to Bologna, who are playing in the Europa League and are from Italy. And I think it's our first Macron shirt of the list. And I'm quite a Macron fan, I will say, but not the biggest fan of this, to be honest. It takes the club's blue and red stripes. Would you call that blue? I think that's blue. And adds some thinner pinstripes on the alternating colour, which it's a nice touch. It jazzes up your normal stripes a little bit, but it just doesn't really do it for me, really. It's quite an uneven looking shirt. They've got the little Italian patch for winning the Coppa Italia last season, which got them into this competition. Their badge is pretty decent as well, but I just can't really rate this shirt. Last season, it was a lot better, I will say. But it is decent. It's a very solid shirt. I think it's better than Atalanta, and not as good as AZ Alkmaar, personally. And then we move on to Borussia Dortmund, who are playing in the Champions League and are, of course, German. And this is their home shirt from Puma. I know they have a different kit they use in European competitions, but this is their home shirt, so this is one we're ranking. And it's a callback to a previous Dortmund shirt that I can't remember off the top of my head, but will be on screen for you. I think the original's better, which is normally the case. I don't really fuck with Puma, to be quite honest with you, but at least the Vodafone sponsor is black, which is, a good thing. It's going to be a decent shirt, but where does it go in solid? I think just there, just behind Bologna, just ahead of Atalanta. It's a pretty solid shirt, I must say. And then move on to Braga, who are playing in the Europa League and are from Portugal. And this is their shirt from Puma, which is giving slight Ajax vibes, if I do say so myself. It is quite decent, to be fair. It's going to be at least a decent shirt, using that almost overused Puma template nowadays, though. It's got an interesting design in the body of the shirt. I'm not sure if it represents anything in particular, but I do like how it looks. I like their badge as well, to be fair. That is a very nice badge. The Puma template, whilst used regularly, does give it points because it is a nice template. You know what? It's a good shirt. It just is a good shirt. Not as good as the other ones, but it's still good. And the streak continues of red and white kits being good. Maybe I do have a type. We then move on to Brann, who play in the Europa League and are from Norway. Nice, another Norwegian team representing. But again, much like Bodo Glimt, this is a very boring shirt. It's just red with a load of sponsors on it. Could definitely be a lot better. So that's where it's going. Not as good as Bodo Glimt's effort, to be honest. It's just not really good. Right, now this is a team that I do not know how to pronounce. They are from Iceland. They play in the Conference League. And I believe their name is Breithablik Kopavojš. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If you know how to pronounce the name or if you are Icelandic, I do apologize. But I think it's Breithablik Kopavojš. Hopefully. But yeah, it's not a really good shirt. Sorry, lads. It definitely could be better. Your badge is very cool, though. I do like the badge. But your shirt could definitely be better. But it's better than Bodo Glimt, it's better than Bran. So get some points there. You know what? It's even better than BK Harkins because you've got an interesting looking collar. So I'll allow it. Hope I pronounced your name right. And then we move on to a team that I can pronounce. That's Celta Vigo, who are currently playing in the Europa League. And they are from Spain. This is nice. I like this shirt. I'm a big fan of Celta Vigo's badge. I like the colour of the shirts, that it matches the badge's colours. The red piping, the little bit of a red accent colour on the collar is nice. It's a Hummel shirt. Hummel are very solid in the shirt space. And it's just got a cool little design across the body of the shirt as well. Very, very nice from Celta Vigo. Very nice from Hummel. But your sponsor is massive. So it's only going to go in second. Decent. Still nice though. Right then, and we move on to Celtic. They are currently playing in the Europa League and are from Scotland. This is interesting. It's a shirt from Adidas, classic green and white hoops, but in the green elements of the shirt, there's this little tartan plaid pattern, which I don't really like, to be honest. I think it's the shade of green more than the actual pattern itself. It doesn't match the Celtic badge. The Dafabet sponsor is not good at all. Could be better. Really could be better. It's one of the better, could be better shirts, paradoxically maybe, but it definitely could be better. Maybe a different shade of green would elevate it. Who knows? All right, moving on to Chelsea, who are playing in the Champions League and of course play in England. And yeah, it's just a nice shirt, really. It's going top of decent right away. Big fan of the colour they've gone with. It's a nice blue. I like the graphic within the body of the shirt. The Club World Cup patch is actually okay. I don't mind it. Classic Chelsea badge, white tick, white accents. Just a very solid shirt all in all. Nothing to really write home about. It's just nice. Then move on to Club Bruges. They play in Belgium and are currently in the Champions League. This is quite nice. It's largely black shirt with some thin blue stripes, which encompass both the Castel badge and the Club Bruges badge. Big sponsor, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but the rest of the shirt looks quite nice. The white aspects of the kit match with the badge, the manufacturer logo. It's decent. I think it's better than Celta Vigo's, personally. Then we move on to Crystal Palace, who currently play in England, and that is a Conference League spot. This shirt, I'm conflicted because it's got some nice retro vibes. I do quite like it when it's on the players. The eagle is looking quite small on the shirt. The sponsor isn't great. If you've watched my Premier League videos, you know I don't like Net88 as a sponsor. It's ruined many a shirt, and this one is no exception. But it's still very decent. I think I like it more than Club Bruges' shirt. Nah, I think Club Bruges is a little bit better, but this is still very nice. We then move on to Dinamo Zagreb. They are currently playing in the Europa League and hail from Croatia. And not much effort has been put into this, has it? It could definitely be better. It's okay, but it could definitely be better. I think it's better than the Icelandic teams, Breithablik, Kopavojš. I think it's better than that one, but definitely could be better. Doesn't really scream Dinamo Zagreb to me, but there's at least a little bit of design on there, so you get a little bit of extra marks for that. We then move on to Dynamo Kyiv, who play in the Conference League and are from Ukraine. This is very interesting. It actually has a diamond badge, much like Werder Bremen, who I'm repping today. I like the badge. It's very nice. I like the Ukraine flag front and center as well, you know, supporting where you're from, especially during these trying times. Yeah, it's quite a nice shirt, really. White, got a lovely design on the body of the shirt. Very decent. Very, very decent. I think it's better than Club Bruges, I think. Yeah, why not? We then move on to FC Basel, and after what was a very strong set of kits last season, I feel like they've dropped the ball with this one a little bit, with some very interesting looking stripes. I do like the piping though. The piping is a nice touch. The sponsor is abhorrent, quite frankly. What the hell is going on there? I don't know what to think of the stripes, you know. They they're like standard stripes, but at a part they just sort of go around the collar and towards the shoulders. It's an interesting take on stripes, don't get me wrong. But what do I think of it? I don't actually know. It's definitely a decent shirt, but where on decent does it go? Because I appreciate when shirts and clubs do unique things with their stripes. But how do I rate this? Sponsor is docking it points. So I think we're going to say not as good as Club Brugge, but better than Crystal Palace. I think that's a fair ranking. We then move on to FC Copenhagen. They are from Denmark and are playing in the Champions League, and they have this beautiful number. Now, in the Champions League, they don't have the same sponsor, but this is the home shirt with the sponsor, so we're including it here. This is fucking phenomenal, lads. Oh my god, this is a lovely piece of kit. Blue and white, wonderful colour scheme. Don't like the sponsor, so it's not going in, deserves a star. But the rest of the kit is absolutely lovely. Love the white stripes on white body. Love the blue collar, cuffs, badge, Adidas logo. Everything is very, very nice. If it was the European version without the sponsor, this would be top without a doubt. But unfortunately, it has the sponsor. So we're sticking it in second place. And we're breaking the monopoly of the red and white clubs. Very, very nice from Copenhagen, though. We then move on to FC Drita. They are playing in the Conference League, and they are from Kosovo. Hey, what about it? But yeah, could definitely be better. I'm not a fan of that massive, orange sponsor. Very, very crazy. Not much going on with the overall shirt design either. Badge is actually pretty cool, to be fair, but yeah, just could be better, really. Doesn't really do anything for me. But you're better than Bayern Munich, so you can put that in your trophy cabinet. All right, we then move on to Kairat Almaty. They are playing in the Champions League, and they hail from Kazakhstan, as I'm sure you're all aware, and are another diamond badge wearer. So you get some props for that. This is a Joma kit. Joma have been actually pretty decent recently, especially with Brentford, and I like most of what they've done here with Kairat. The stripes have a little cool design within them. Love the collar. It's a nice colour scheme. But the sponsors, I just can't get behind the sponsors. It looks better in Europe, to be fair. But again, this is the home kit. It's not the best image as well that we're looking at. It's a decent kit. It's a decent kit. Better than Atleti. Better than AEK Athens. Good job, lads. Cool badge as well. We then move on to FC Midtjylland, who are playing in the Europa League and are from Denmark. And it's just a classic red and black striped shirt. You could honestly think this is Bournemouth if you looked at it. It's decent, really. Their badge is pretty cool, in all fairness. I've got it. We got it on the wall. We got it on the thing. We got it on the scarf. It's up there. You know, they have major props. They did beat us, though. I'll try not to hold that against them because we were dire. Nice collar. They didn't even wear this kit in that match. They actually wore their away shirt, which is a lot nicer. Yeah, this is a decent kit. The Jack and Jones in the middle does kind of ruin it for me, to be honest. But other than that, decent. We then move on to FC Noah of Armenia, who are playing in the Conference League. And it's just a plain white shirt, really. What do you want me to say? It's a plain white kit with a little Armenian flag right here, which I do rate. It should be better, really, though. It's better than these kits just because it has the single sponsor, which looks okay. Could definitely be better, though. Some like Armenian patterns on the fabric or something. But for now, it's just all right. We then move over to FC Porto of Portugal, and they are playing in the Europa League. We beat them, though. I don't really mind this shirt, to be fair. It's an anniversary kit, apparently, judging by the little neck tag. The Betano sponsor isn't great, but the two blue stripes across the main front of the shirt, the body of the shirt, snugly fit the FC Porto and New Balance logos pretty perfectly. So we will put it in decent. Yeah, I think it looks nice. Sponsor could be better, but overall, very, very solid shirt. We then move on to FCSB, who currently play in the Europa League and are from Romania. This is interesting because it is just a red shirt with blue accents, but the badge in blue is kind of moving me. I can't lie. I do quite like it. I think it actually works better in monochrome on this shirt. But the rest of the shirt is very plain, and it's got just a blazing white Betano sponsor on it as well, which I cannot rate. And this weird sponsor up here as well for Walter Tosto. Don't know what that is. Don't really like its placement either, so it could be better. But it's a very solid shirt. But definitely could be better. Move on to FC Utrecht of the Netherlands, who are also playing in the Europa League. And this is like a reverse Monaco almost. They've taken the red bit the Monaco cut off and replaced it with the white bit. I don't know where I'm going with that, to be honest. This shirt isn't great. Plain shirt from Castor. There's no design elements on either the red or the white aspects of the shirt like there are on the Monaco kit. It's a bit boring. I don't like the sponsor either. Yeah, just not doing it for me. The weird jagged line as well, I can't rate that. So unfortunately, you're getting grouped. We then move on to Fenerbahce of Turkey, who are playing in the Europa League, and it's just your classic Fenerbahce kit. Blue and yellow stripes, with some white accents and some little white piping as well, which I think looks quite nice. It's a very interesting shirt. I think it looks pretty good, all things considered, but I don't like the sponsor. A lot of striped kits, actually, looking at it. Where does this one go? I prefer the colour scheme to the yellow and black, I think, only slightly. And I know that Fenerbahce have had some very nice shirts in the past, but we're not rating those, we're rating this one. Yeah, I think there's fair. Yeah, we'll keep it there. Why not? We then move on to Ferencváros of Hungary, who are playing in the Europa League. And this is very interesting, to say the least. This is closer to the shade of green that I would have liked to have seen from Celtic. I think with a lighter green that matched their badge better, the shirt would have looked better. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I'm just trying to take it all in. So it's a Macron shirt, centralized club crest, but not Macron badge, which I'm not the biggest fan of. The T-Mobile sponsor as well isn't the best, but there's some nice little stripes or lines within the actual hoops of the shirt. The badge itself is quite nice. I love that it's centralized and really lines up with a little Macron template collar thing here, which is nice to see as well. I don't know where they've gone on my list. Where are you, Frank Varosh? There you are. I think the hoops are personally too thin for my personal liking. That's the only complaint I really have, other than the Macron logo being off center. But it's good. It's solid. It's better than FC Porto, but not as good as Celta Vigo. Decent shirt though. The Hungarians, you should be proud. And I'll have you on me wall as well at some point. Right. We then move on to Feyenoord of the Netherlands, who are also playing in the Europa League. And it's another Castor effort that just misses the mark, I think. It's the classic half and half red and white from Feyenoord, but it doesn't look that good. They've had better shirts in the past from Castor. This is one of the lesser efforts, I think. Could definitely be better. I mean, it just edges FCSB because of their Botano sponsor, but Feyenoord sponsor isn't great either. Just screams low effort, really. But I do appreciate the half and half collar. That's quite nice. We then move on to Fiorentina of Syria, which is, of course, Italy. And they are playing in the Conference League. And I like what Kappa have done here. Gives me some retro vibes from Fiorentina. Got a little bit of design in the body of the shirt from what I can see. Some stripes in the purple, I think. I like it. I like the white aspects. I like the little purple flanking stripe as well. Very, very decent kit. Good job, Fiorentina, even if you stinked up the league currently. Right, we then move on to another team whose name I'm going to butcher. I hope I don't, and I do apologize in advance. They are a team from Macedonia playing in the Conference League. This is FK Shendika, or Shendikia, I think. Shkendia. FK Shkendia. Shkendia? I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation, guys. I'm trying my best. This shirt isn't, though. Could be better, boys. Could be better. We then move on to Eintracht Frankfurt, who are playing in the Champions League, and they are from Germany. This is how you do a striped shirt, lads. Oh my god. This, while it is very plain, just red and black stripes, the piping and the collar severely carry the shirt. And the white works well with the badge on the shirt as well. I like it. I don't know where they've gone from my list. There they are. Right, Eintracht Frankfurt, you are a very decent kit. One of the best. I think you're second best, in fact, in the decent category. Very, very nice. Love the collar. Doing some major heavy lifting for you. We then stay in Germany with SFV Mainz, who are playing in the Conference League. And this is a very solid effort from Jacko. Big fan of the design on the body of the shirt. I'm not sure what it represents. It looks like it could be a topographical map, but I don't think it is. The sleeves and the little shoulder bits as well are quite crazy, but I like it. Very, very solid shirts. Not as good as Frankfurt, not as good as Villa, not as good as Dinamo Kiev or Fiorentina, but still very, very solid. We then move on to Galatasaray of Turkey, who are playing in the Champions League. And this is okay. Sorry if there are any Gala fans watching. You normally have some very nice shirts, but this one just ain't really it, if I'm being honest. I like your badge, like what you're doing with the stars, like the little Turkish flag on here as well. I believe that's because you won a cup or the league. I can't quite remember. I think half and half shirt can work really well. You've got some really solid foundations, but there's just no design in the shirt. Like one of the elements could have had a little bit of a design to it that would have elevated the shirt. But as these plain colours, it's just not really that good. Could definitely be better, but it's one of the better, could be better shirts in all fairness. We then move on to Genk, who are playing in the Europa League and are from Belgium. I don't know what to think. This is quite a nice shirt, to be honest. I like the little bits of designs we're going on. We got stripes, we got little crisscross elements as well, with a little gradient going on. The colours work together well. Definitely decent. Definitely decent. But where in decent does it go? That's the real question here. Better than Ferencváros, but not as good as Celta Vigo. Still a very, very solid effort though, for sure. All right, we then move on to Go Ahead Eagles of the Netherlands, and they are playing in the Europa League. They recently beat Aston Villa, and this is the shirt they did it in. And to be honest, I like it. It's from a company called Stano, I believe. I've not really come into contact with any of their shirts before, but this is nice. It's a red shirt with a yellow stripe down the center, and within those red and yellow elements, there are faint stripes that go across the body of the shirt as well. The sponsor's a bit crazy, but their badge is cool. It's got a collar, some nice cuffs as well. Decent shirt. I quite like it. It's nice. Yeah, decent. All right, we've then got another team whose name I may struggle to pronounce. Let's have a look. This is a team from Malta. They are playing in the Conference League, and I believe their name is Cameron Spartans. Cameron Spartans, I believe. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. Any Maltese viewers, feel free to correct me in the comments, but I like what the Spartans have done here. It's your red and black shirt, classic Spartans move, but the badge is monochrome. They've got some little thin black stripes in the center, red stripe. Interesting collar from Puma, but I'll let it slide. The sponsor could be better. It is very decent. I think it goes there. Not as good as FC Basel, but better than Crystal Palace, I think. Yeah. Up the Spartans. We then move on to another team whose name I'm going to struggle to pronounce, so please bear with me. This is HSK Zrinski Mostar, I think. I hope. They are from Bosnia and Herzegovina and currently play in the Conference League. And this is a very interesting shirt from Macron. It's got it's a white shirt with a little red sash across the body, which is broken up by the sponsorship placement. Well, this sash is made up of broken lines of varying widths. The badge doesn't really fit either. It's blue. There's no other blue parts of the shirt. I don't know what's going on there. I like what they've done on the cuffs, though. That is quite nice. They're a decent kit, but how decent are you? Yeah, it's all right. Don't know what the blue and the badge is doing. We then move on to Inter Milan of Italy, who are playing in the Champions League, and it's a shirt we've looked at before on the channel with some leaks, but it's your classic blue and black stripes of Inter Milan, but the stripes are meant to spell out the word Inter. The badge is light blue, the sponsor's light blue, the night tick is light blue. Very interesting shade of blue there. Not sure if I'd fuck with that. Maybe better in white. I don't know. It's definitely a decent kit. I think that's fair to say. But where does it go? Yeah, I think that's fair. It's definitely grown on me since seeing it, but I'm still not the biggest fan. Oh my god, this name. Okay, what we got here? Right. This is a team from Poland that play in the Conference League. They are called Jagiellonia Białystok. Jagiellonia Białystok. I think. I've probably butchered that pronunciation. I do apologize. Jagiellonia Białystok. This is a lovely shirt from Kappa, red and yellow hoops. Nice badge. Terrible sponsorships though, but there's some nice design within those red and I think yellow elements as well, which will raise the points. But again, I don't like the sponsor. I don't know what's going on there. I know you need to make your money. I know the Polish league probably doesn't bring in that much money, but it's not great, is it? Well, you've got a fucking Viking helmet with some fucking biceps on your shirt. What's going on there? But despite all of that, I do like the design elements within the shirt. I think it's quite nice from Kappa. I think that's a fair place to put it. I do like it. We then move on to Juventus. Of course, they are from Italy and are playing in the Champions League. But I don't like this. I'm not a fan of these uneven, weird stripes. You know what I'm saying? I like the actual template they've used. The collar of this kit is very nice. I think it's some pink piping as well. Sponsor's not great. Design isn't great. Could definitely be better. Could definitely be better. Poor from Adidas. Very, very poor. We then move on to a team from Finland who play in the Conference League. Their name is Kuopion Paloseura. I'm sorry about the pronunciation, lads. It's hard. It's hard. I'm going to call you Cups, as that's what your badge says. It's a shirt from Puma. Some little design going on in the yellow elements of the shirt, actually, to be fair. But that sponsor, oh my god, that is a big sponsor and a little blue sponsor as well. Lads, what's going on? It's decent. It's not the best. It could definitely be better. But I think it's just above the could be better because your badge is cool. I like your badge. We then move on to Lausanne Sport from Switzerland. They are playing in the Conference League. And I like it. I do like it. It's giving me vibes of the FC Copenhagen shirt, but without the betting sponsor, which is always a plus. It's a blue band across the body of the shirt with a fairly big sponsor in all fairness. The body of the shirt is made up of a pattern created from the Lausanne Sport badge, which I do quite like as well. With a nice simple retro collar with a little bit of blue trim on there and the cuffs. Very, very nice. Lovely stuff, Lausanne Sport. We then move on to Lech Poznan of Poland, who are playing in the Conference League. It's okay. It's got that terrible Superbet sponsor that our favourite boys, Białystok, were wearing. Jagiellonia Białystok. Again, I don't like the sponsor. There's a very interesting design in the body of the shirt from Macron here. I'm not too sure what's going on. And a little bit of blue piping that separates the body from the sleeves. I like your badge though. Your badge is cool. I'm not sure if the design is made up of elements from that badge. I can't really tell, but it looks like they could be. Yeah, it's a very interesting shirt. Definitely a decent bit of kit. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's solid effort, really. We then move on to Legia Warsaw, also from Poland, and also playing in the Conference League. I think this is a nice kit. It's obviously just a largely plain white shirt with some black elements, but they also have green and red elements of the shirt as well, giving it an almost half and half design on both the sleeve panels and the side panels as well, which I quite like. Their badge is interesting, but I think it's quite a decent kit. To say it's very plain, I think it's actually fairly solid. I like the green and red elements. I'm going to pop it there. Good stuff, Legia Warsaw. We then move on to Lille of France. They are playing in the Conference League, and it's not really that good, to be honest. Mainly because of that massive sponsor. The pattern is okay. I don't think it really means anything to Lille. I like their badge, but it's just not that good of a shirt, really. The collar and the cuffs are quite nice. To be fair, they have a little French flag. Where do you belong, Lille? Where do you belong on this list? That's the main question I'm trying to answer with myself. It could definitely be better. I'm just not a fan of that pattern, really. We then move on to Lincoln Red Imps of Gibraltar. They also play in the Conference League. And I'm going to be real. I like what I'm seeing. It's a red and black striped shirt, sort of, with some white stripes as well. The main body of the shirt is red, but from the middle section downwards, there's got like a gradient fading in some stripes, which I like. Black sleeves, white little stripes on the big black stripes. It's all right from Give Over and Lincoln Red Imps. Solid effort from them. Solid effort. We then move on to Liverpool, who are, of course, playing in the English Premier League. And they're in the Champions League as well. This shirt is extremely plain. Could be better. Like the white piping, that's about it. We then move on to Ludogorets Razgrad of Bulgaria. They are playing in the Europa League. And this is the little kit we're taking a look at today. It's a very bad quality image, so forgive me if I'm missing some details from Jacko. But it's a largely green shirt with a white gradient coming from the bottom with these thin green stripes on those white elements as well, and a terrible sponsor as well. It's decent. It's probably the bottom of decent, in all fairness. It's hype. We then move on to Maccabi Tel Aviv of the Europa League, and all things considered, it's a nice shirt. I don't like the sponsor. The sponsor is terrible. But Puma have created a very cohesive looking shirt here. The badge and the Puma logo are centralized. Fan of the blue stripes that fade into a darker blue as well, which is also repeated on the sleeves. I like the collar. It's quite the nice shirt, in all fairness. We're just judging it based on shirts. Is very good, I must admit. It is very good. We then move on to Malmo of Sweden, who are playing in the Europa League. And this is the F from Puma. It's not great. The sponsor is big. Don't like it. The blue doesn't even match the blue of the badge and the blue of the body. What's going on? Rookie error, lads. Rookie error. It could definitely be better. We then move on to Manchester City of England. They play in the Champions League, and it's a little sky blue with a white sash going on. I don't really fuck with it, I'm not going to lie. Not the biggest fan of the sash. I don't like what they've done with it. They've tried to make it unique, which I can appreciate, but I'm not a fan of the way they've executed that. It's a pretty decent looking shirt though, all in all. We then move on to Olympique Marseille. They are from France and are currently playing in the Champions League. And it's this Puma template, once again, making a return. What can you say? It's an okay shirt. It's white and blue, which is the Marseille colours. The sponsor, whilst coloured badge, is a bit big. And there's no like design elements in the white elements of the shirt either, from what I can see. It's boring, really. That's what I want to say. The template, like I've said, is nice. So it bumps up a few points. But it's quite the boring shirt, I think. It's okay. It's decent. We then move on to Napoli of Italy, who are currently playing in the Champions League. And this is pretty nice. Now, the MSC sponsor is very big and actually quite high up on the shirt looking at this image, which I don't rate. But Napoli badge looks lovely. The sponsor, big, but the collar and the cuffs match. The Scudetto in the center as well, with a nice little design element across the body of the shirt, which also looks like a gradient effect as well. You're doing good things, Napoli. You're doing good. It's the third most decent shirt on the list. We then move on to Newcastle of the Premier League, also playing in the Champions League. It's nice, lads. It's nice. I like the little design they've gone with on the stripes. I believe it's called the Shepherd's Hook. The little blue elements as well, I'm a big fan of. I've said that many a time when looking at a Newcastle shirt. Yep, it's decent. It's decent, lads. Bravo, bravo. Hang on, lads. We've got a name I can't really pronounce. Give me a sec. This is NK Celia from Slovenia, who are playing in the Conference League. What's going on, lads? There's not much at all really happening. Why the sleeves? Not really a fan of the colour scheme. I'm not going to lie, lads. Maybe too harsh, but this is grouped kit. Sorry to all my NK Celia fans out there, but I don't like it. All right, boys. Take a guess at what team I support. I fucking love the Nottingham Forest shirt. They're from England. We play in the Europa League. I don't even need to talk about this. It is star worthy because it is fucking phenomenal. Look at it, man. It takes what is a lovely Aberdeen shirt and just makes it so much better. With not only the red stripes, but the white stripes as well. Lovely collar that matches the cuffs. The crest is wonderful. It's in a shield, which looks lovely. The sponsor works well with the rest of the shirt design. Wow. It's very nice. I own this shirt with Igor Jesus on the back. What a boy. Quality. We then move on to OGC Nice of France, who are currently playing in the Europa League. I like this. It's very monochrome. Well, it's got a monochrome badge, red and black, which would be the colours of the badge on the shirt. Nice little collar from Kappa. They make a lovely bit of kit. I like it. Not the biggest fan of the sponsor, but Woodworkers a Forest sponsor. If you know, you know. It's just decent, really. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, about there. Between Celta and Genk. Lovely. We then move on to our sister club, Olympiakos. They are, of course, from Greece and are playing in the Champions League. Olympiakos released a lovely anniversary shirt. One of the best shirts they've ever had. This one ain't that, though. It's just red and white stripes. Doesn't really do anything for me. So I'm sorry, Marinakis. Yeah, you've got a decent kit. Yeah, it's all right. We then move on to Olympic Lyon of France, who are also playing in the Europa League. I like this. I like it. I think it's very, very nice. Little stripe down the center, blue and red. You've got your centralized badge, your centralized Adidas little logo, some design in the white elements of the shirt, the blue piping on the collar as well. It is so, so good. Oh my god, it is the best of the good shirts. You know what? I might be bold here. I think it deserves a star. It's very, very nice. I'm a big, big fan of it. And their away shirt as well. Oh, Lyon are on fire with their kits this season. Adidas really nice to them. Lovely stuff, boys. Lovely stuff. Send me one of your kits, I beg. We then move on to Ammonia Nicosia from Cyprus. They are playing in the Conference League. It's got a lovely central green stripe, very thick, flanked by thinner green stripes on either side of the shirt. Sponsor is Mahusiv. Don't like it. Looks like there's a bit of texture within this shirt as well, which I can appreciate. And it's a Macron design as well, which is always nice. Got a decent bit of kit, lads. Decent bit of kit. Is it the best green and black shirt we've seen so far? I think it is. Not that much better than Frank Varosh, but definitely a little bit better nonetheless. We then move on to Paphos of Cyprus, who are playing in the Champions League. You could have done better for your Champions League debut, lads. Come on. What is going on here? Monochrome badge, which looks interesting to say the least. Terrible sponsor. Doesn't even match the colours. Ah, boy. I don't even like this Puma template either. I do apologise. Could be better. Actually, it's better than Drita. Could be better, though. We then move on to Panathinaikos from Greece, who are playing in the Europa League. It conflicts me more than anything because it flies in the face of what I don't want a shirt to be, which is very, very plain. But it works. The white piping is nice. Just the little clover as the badge. Not on this side, of course, but it is nice. No sponsor as well. Low-key works. Ooh, Panathinaikos. I know you are the rivals of Olympiakos, but your shirt is nicer. I quite like it, I'm not going to lie. It's a very, very decent kit, I must admit. It's very nice. We then move on to PAOK, who also play in Greece and are also playing in the Europa League, and it's their black and white number from Macron. Yeah, it's all right, Just a decent kit, really. Nothing much more to say. Just decent. Your badge is nice. We now move on to the reigning European champions in PSG, and this is their home shirt, which we've already looked at before. I quite liked it then, and I like it now as well. And in the Champions League, they also have this very cool little Eiffel Tower sort of star thing going on, which I like, which also the central element, the central stripe of the shirt is inspired by the Eiffel Tower. It's very, very nice. It's a good shirt. I like it. Good job, PSG. Good job, Nike. We then move on to PSV Eindhoven of the Netherlands. They are playing in the Champions League, and this is what I'm talking about. This is a good PSV shirt. This is what Feyenoord should have done. This is a red and white striped shirt, but in the red stripes, there's this lovely zigzag design, kind of reminiscent of an Arsenal shirt, almost, but has a white chunk taken out of the stripes for the sponsor, which I do not rate. So it does bring the shirt down a couple of points, but it is still very, very nice. Yeah. Yeah, decent. Very decent. We then move on to Karabag of Azerbaijan, who are currently playing in the Champions League. There's just an Adidas template in it. Gives me vibes of the Liverpool Candy shirts from back in the day. Not a big fan of the sponsor. I rate the Azerbaijan badge in the center of the shirt. But unlike the upsets they cause in European competitions, I don't think they're going to cause any upsets on this little ranking here. It's a decent shirt. Yeah, I think that works. Then move on to Rakov Częstochowska. No, that's the wrong pronunciation. They're a Polish team that play in the Conference League. We're going to try that again. Raków Częstochowa. Rakov Częstochowa. I hope. I don't like your shirt though. 3 sponsors on the center: Lotto, Hisense, and some crypto sponsor. Not the best work, lads. I can't lie. I think it could be better. Could definitely be better. We then move on to Rangers of Scotland, who are currently playing in the Europa League. And this is their effort from Umbro. It utilizes a retro Rangers crest or an alternate Rangers crest on what is just a plain blue shirt. Very reminiscent of that Puma template, but a little bit different. Umbro's effort at capturing that market. There's a thin red line on both the collar and the cuffs, which I do appreciate. The sponsor's bad though. Not a lot done on this kit. Much like your Glasgow rivals, it could be better. You're definitely the worst looking of the two. I don't have a horse in that race, by the way. I just think that Celtic's shirt looks a little bit better than Rangers does. We then move on to Rapid Vienna, the only Austrian team to win the German Bundesliga, and they are playing in the Conference League with this effort from Puma. It's the lovely Puma template we've all come to know and love, with some lovely green stripes and thinner green stripes as well. Their badge is nice, but that sponsor is just terrible. Why is it so big? That's my main question. And what's with this lime green border around what would have been matching green and white colours? I don't get it. It docks you points, unfortunately, but you've got the Puma template, which always grants you a few marks. It's better than Ferencváros, but not as good as Nicosia. We then move on to Rayo Vallecano. They are from Spain and currently play in the Conference League, and it's your classic zigzag design, but with some added sleeve design as well, which I actually think is quite nice. You know what, Rayo? I like the added black elements on this shirt. There's also a little black stripe flanking the little zigzag, which I think is nice as well. The sponsor's a bit big for my liking, not the biggest fan, but the cuffs are nice. The white stripes on the sleeve are nice. The black elements are lovely. You've got a good shirt here, boys. But not as good as Celta Vigo. Still very nice, though. We then move on to RB Salzburg of the Austrian Bundesliga. They're currently playing in the Europa League and are once again utilizing this lovely Puma template. And actually looking at it, it seems to be the inverse of the Braga template. They've got the red sleeves and the red collar, whereas Braga have the white sleeves and the white collar. The white elements of this shirt have some sort of design within it. I'm not really sure what it is or what it's supposed to represent, but it's there. Adds a bit of depth to the shirt, which I can always appreciate. But the Red Bull sponsor is Wham, with a little yellow circle in the center of the shirt, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But the template is nice. The whole shirt looks cohesive. It's a very, very decent kit. Probably one of the best. We then move on to Real Betis of Spain, who are currently playing in the Europa League. Where's their shirt gone? It's here. It's all right. Last season, they had a much better shirt, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. I do appreciate the thin stripes within the bigger stripes. So within your big green stripes, there are thinner green stripes, and also the same on the white elements of the kit as well. The sponsor isn't great, but it's just a very solid looking kit. But is it the best of the green and white ones, or the green and white stripes? I don't think so. I think it's worse than Ferencváros, personally. Decent kit though, I like your badge. We then move on to Real Madrid of Spain, current champions of something. They've got a little shield on their shirt. What is that? They're currently the Intercontinental Champions, as far as I can see. Not sure what that's about. Hey, they've got a crest on their shirt, or a shield on their shirt, so I guess that's nice. I like the piping elements of the kit, but that's about it. It's just a very plain shirt. Doesn't really do it for me other than that piping. Could definitely be better. Not as good as Liverpool's even. They're both just plain shirts with piping. I'm not a fan. We then move on to Red Star Belgrade of Serbia. They're currently playing in the Europa League and have this effort from Macron, which I like if it wasn't for that terrible Gazprom sponsor being in blue and just cutting a huge chunk out of the stripes. Now, there's something very interesting going on with these stripes. They start off thick on either side, encompassing the Macron logo and the badge, multicolored, which I actually quite like. It's then split by the sponsor and then moves into two thinner stripes and a thicker central stripe. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but it's just a massive break for a blue sponsor on a red shirt. Other than that, I would really like it. I like the multicolours on the red stripes, but I don't know why they've separated it like that. And I like the collar, I like the cuff design, I like the sleeves as well. It's tough for me, this one, because it is quite nice in multiple aspects, but then the sponsor really does ruin it. I'm going to pop you there, because you could be very, very good if you didn't have that sponsor. But I think the sponsor break lends to the actual splitting of the stripes as well. I just don't know. It's decent. That's all you need to know. It's decent kit. That's all I can say. We then move on to HNK Rijeka from Croatia, who play in the Conference League. This is interesting. I mean, the colours definitely match the badge. I'm not really sure what's going on with the design of this shirt. I currently have a friend who lives in Rijeka as well, so I want to give them some higher marks for that as well. But based purely off the shirts, it's decent. It's better than Marseille, which both use the same colours, but not by much. We then move on to Roma of Italy, who are currently playing in the Europa League. But this is just another plain shirt with some piping, which, it looks nice, don't get me wrong, but they could have done a lot more with this shirt. It's definitely the best of the could be better bunch, but yeah, it's just too plain for my liking. We then move on to Royal Union Saint-Gilloise of Belgium. They're currently playing in the Champions League, and this just looks like a training shirt, to be honest. The sponsor isn't great. The colour scheme works together, to be fair. But other than that, this just looks like it should be a training kit. Could definitely be a lot better. Could definitely be a lot better for the Belgian champions, eh? Yeah, put it there. We then move on to Samsunspor from Turkey. They're playing in the Conference League, and they've got these wavy stripes. This is an interesting take on that design from Hummel. Looks like it's got a sort of traditional collar going on there with matching cuffs. Don't like the amount of sponsors we've got on this shirt, though. The main sponsor doesn't lend itself well to the kit either. Just slapping a spot. It's basically a sticker across the stripes. It could be better. It could be better. We then move on to SC Freiburg from Germany, who are playing in the Europa League. And we've seen this template before from Genk, who did a lot more with it, in my opinion. It's just okay. I think Genk's did it better, personally. Good. It's decent, though. It is decent. I think it belongs there. Then move on to Shakhtar Donetsk of Ukraine, who are currently playing in the Conference League. And we've got this almost hand-drawn looking shirt, which is very interesting. Reminiscent of the Human Race kits that Adidas did a collaboration with a couple of years ago, but just not as good. And those orange sleeves, they're very plain and look out of place. It's all right from Shakhtar, though. It's not a bad kit. Very decent. Very decent. Currently storming up the rankings too. Just behind Olympiakos, I think, because I do quite like it, and everything is cohesive on that shirt design. We then move on to Shamrock Rovers of Ireland, who currently play in the Conference League, and this is nice. It's a lovely green and white hooped shirt from Macron with some lovely designs in the green elements of the shirt and a very nice matching set of cuffs and collar. My, Shamrock Rovers, you are definitely the best of the green and white kits. I would even put you as the third best, most decent kit in the European competitions this season. We then move on to Shelbourne Rovers, another team from Ireland that are playing in the Conference League. This one just isn't as nice, and the sponsor really does knock it down a lot of points. The collar and cuffs do match in all fairness, but there's just not a lot of effort gone into this shirt. It could be better. It could definitely be better. We then move on to probably one of the best named clubs in the competition. This is Sigma Olomouc, or Olo Mook. Sigma Olomouc, I think, is the name. And it's a little blue and white number from Adidas. It's got a very nice half-tone gradient design going on. I like the badge. Don't like the sponsor. Not sure what that Sigma thing is in the center. Interesting, I guess. Probably some competition they won in Czechia. It's decent. I'm looking at on this small image, that design on the body of the shirt actually looks quite cool. I'm going to bump it above City. Yeah, decent effort from Sigma Olomouc. We then move on to Slavia Prague, also from Czechia, and they are playing in the Champions League. This is interesting from Castor. So it's got a half and half design, much like Feyenoord, but on one side of the shirt has gradient fading red stars, which is interesting. I think this would have looked better if they repeated that on the red side of the shirt with some white stars. Would look more symmetrical as well, but it's definitely decent. I like the cuffs, I like the collar. I do like the addition of that starry element on the white part of the shirt. Definitely better than what they did for Feyenoord, that's for sure. No sponsor as well, looks very clean. Could ruin it if they got a sponsor. Just a bit better than Olympiakos, but not as good as Borussia Dortmund. Very solid effort though from Castor and Slavia Prague. We then move on to Slovan Bratislava, the boys from Slovakia who play in the Conference League. They've got this very interesting light blue and almost black looking shirt with some debossed or embossed squares across the body of the shirt. Some nice black piping, a monochrome badge. It's a very cohesive looking shirt, I'll give them that. I'm not a fan of the sponsor too much, but it's not really that egregious. Fellas, you've done a decent job there. Just above Sigma, just below Legia Warsaw. Decent effort from Slovan Bratislava. We then move on to Sparta Prague from Czechia, also playing in the Conference League. And this is a very interesting design from Adidas. I'm not sure really what to think of it. The badge is okay. I prefer their normal badge with the circle and the different colours on it, but I can see why they didn't use it for this kit. Fits snugly between those two thin hoops there. Yeah, it's decent kit, but Betano, strike again. I fucking hate Betano. It does dock them some major points for what is a pretty cohesive shirt. I'm going to stick it just behind the Spartans, just ahead of Palace, I think. Nah, just below Palace, just above Celta. We then move on to Sporting Club de Portugal. Obviously, the birthplace of Ronaldo. And this shirt, whilst on the image looks very thin, I'm not sure what's going on there. It is a pretty decent looking kit. Does what you need to do for a sporting shirt. Green and white hoops, but they are very plain. And once again, they are sponsored by Betano, which does dock them marks a little bit. Currently one of the worst green and white striped shirts. Yeah, I'm dragging them down a lot. I don't like Betano as a sponsor. They've not really done anything with the stripes either, unlike a Shamrock Rovers, for example. We then move on to Strasbourg of France. They're currently playing in the Conference League. This is their shirt, and it looks very, very nice, save for that awful, awful sponsor. What is going on there? The overall body of the shirt is very nice. It's a largely blue kit with some white piping, some white cuffs and collar, which do match. And there's a lovely design across the body of the shirt, which I really, really like. It lends itself brilliantly to the kit. It looks lovely, but that bloody sponsor really docks it a load of marks. It's better than Chelsea, I think. No, the sponsor drops it just below Chelsea. They're part of the same Blueco group as well, which Strasbourg fans despise, and fair enough. But you've got a very nice kit, so fair enough. We then move on to Sturm Graz of Austria. They're currently playing in the Europa League. This is their shirt, and it's just a black kit with an interesting sponsor. Nothing more to really be said about Sturm Graz. Unfortunately, lads, you could be better, but you're better than some of them in this section, I'll tell you what. We then move on to Stuttgart of Germany, who are playing in the Europa League. It's another Jacko kit from them, and a very interesting one at that. They've got a red band across the body of the shirt in which the sponsor sits, with some weird little funky lines coming off it, which also appear on the white elements of the shirt as well. It's decent. Yeah, it's aight. We then move on to Tottenham Hotspur of England. They're currently playing in the Champions League, and this is their effort from Nike with some lovely centralized logos. But again, why is she sponsoring red? I don't fuck with that. I've said it many a time. It's also a very plain shirt, which we know I don't rate too highly, but centralized crest and logo are quite good. Not sure about the secondary colours on the sleeves. That's a bit weird. Could be better. It's a decent kit, though. This is a Romanian team, so just bear with me here. Universitatea Craiova. I think that's how you pronounce that. Universitatea Craiova. From the Conference League. What's going on, boys? What's going on with these stripes? Why are they disintegrating against another Superbet sponsor? Bloody hell. The badge is nice. I do like that. But I don't like the Superbet sponsor. I'm not the biggest fan of whatever's going on with those stripes. It's okay. It's not the best. It's decent. It's decent. Then move on to Victoria Plzeň, who are from Czechia and are playing in the Europa League. And I think this effort from Macron is rather nice. It's got some lovely designs in the diagonal blue and red stripes. And a little black collar as well is nice. It's a nice touch. I like the little piping going on the body and the sleeves. Not the biggest fan of the sponsor, but it's not too egregious. We've got a very decent shirt here, Victoria Plzeň. Yeah, I think you go there. I think that's fair. We then move on to Villarreal of Spain, who are currently playing in the Champions League. And for once, they've had a bit of extra design on their shirt with a purple stripe down the centre. Crazy stuff. Other than that, there's not really much going on in the shirt. There's a nice little texture design from Joma that I can see, but it doesn't really do much for me. The line is broken by the sponsor as well, which I know we can't really avoid, but the sponsor ain't that great. It's a decent shirt all in all, though. I think we just whack it here and be done with it. All right, we are here. The final shirt of this video. I have no idea how long this is going to be. It's going to be a long one for sure. But if you've made it this far, I'm not sure why. Young Boys. The team with the sus name and even susser stadium name of the Wankdorf Arena, whatever it's called. This Swiss side are currently playing in the Europa League, but they've had a lot better shirts than this from Nike. It's got a little diagonal stripe design on the body of the shirt, which, you know, it's a bit of design to be fair. The sponsor's okay, but I don't really like it because there's not a lot going on. It's a decent shirt, do not get me wrong, but it's not the best. It's better than these teams for sure. A bit better than Villarreal. I think it's just under Kairat Almaty. And that is that. This is my ranking of all European clubs in the main European competitions this season of the Champions League, Europa, and Conference League. 108 kits there. What do you think? Do you agree with my ranking? You're probably not even watching the video at this point, but if you are, major props to you. What was your favourite shirt from the competition? Please let me know down below. I'm probably not going to do this away in third shirts unless there's a lot of demand for it. So if you do want to see that, please let me know in the comments down below as well. I've been O2GT. Hope you have enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one for what is hopefully a shorter video. Peace.